Whatever the messenger gives you, take it. A Bukharian proof for following hadith.
And whatever the messenger gives you, take it, and whatever he forbids you, leave it. And fear Allah, truly Allah is severe in punishment.
Many Bukharian hadith worshippers give this part of a Quranic verse as proof we must take everything the messenger did and said as binding upon us. This means the hadith and sunnah. We see that it is what the messenger gives you and not whatever Muhammad gave, thus cementing the binding duty of the messenger to act according to the message he was given and not put his own opinion ahead of others to follow. Scholars should be scholarly and not take verses out of context as evidence for fairy tale beliefs about following hadith, but that is what they must do as they have no authority from the Qur'an. You do not need an 8-year madrasa education to work this out for yourself, but you do need an 8-year madrasa education to stop reading and thinking about what the Qur'an says to support misguided beliefs, in short, devoid of wisdom indoctrination. You can view websites and watch YouTube videos showing the numerous Islamic scholars lying with this false interpretation for the verse, which goes back to devoid of wisdom ancestors they religiously and dutifully follow. And I repeat, not what the Qur'an actually says. The verse in context.
All that is in the heavens and all that is on earth strives to manifest the glory of God. For He is Almighty, the Wise. He is the one who evicted the disbelievers among the people of the book from their homes at the first gathering of the forces. You never thought that they would leave, and they thought that their strongholds would defend them against God. But God's requital came to them from directions they little expected, and caused fear in their hearts. So they dismantled their dwellings with their own hands and got them dismantled at the hands of the believers. Learn a lesson. Then, O you who are endowed with insight, God came, His requital came. They dismantled their immovable property to prevent the believers from benefiting from it, and if God had not decreed banishment for them, He would have punished them harder in this world, yet for them is suffering of the fire in the life to come. This is because they opposed God and His messenger. If anyone opposes God, certainly, God is stern and grasping. Whatever palm trees you cut down or left standing on their roots, it was by God's leave, in order that He might disgrace those who drifted away from their treaties. Leaner, softness, gentleness, soft young palm tree, Fasiq, one who drifts away. And whatever God has turned over to His messenger, you did not toil on any horse or camel for it. But God gives His messengers upper hand according to His laws. For God is the appointer of due measure for all things. Whatever God has turned over to His messenger from those communities belongs to God and His messenger, the central authority. The messenger will spend it on the central government, the central authority, the welfare of the families of the believers, the orphans, those who still feel left alone in the society, the widows, those who have no means of earning their livelihood, the disabled who cannot move around looking for the bounty of God, the homeless son of the street, those who are on their way to join you, and those who travel a distance to seek help, so that it may not keep revolving between the wealthy among you. Hence, take what the messenger gives you, and abstain from what he forbids you. Be mindful of God. Surely, God is stern and grasping.
The take what the messenger gives you is what is just mentioned and for whom in the verse prior to this. So how can it mean the hadith and sunnah for everyone? UI Ali says this:
What Allah has bestowed on His apostle and taken away from the people of the townships belongs to Allah, to His apostle, and to kindred and orphans, the needy and the wayfarer, in order that it may not merely make a circuit between the wealth among you. So take what the apostle assigns to you and deny yourselves that which he withholds from you, and fear Allah, for Allah is strict in punishment.
Scholars know that this verse speaks about the spoils of war, but add the hadith meaning because they have no verse in the Quran confirming their worship of hadith and sunnah. Someone somewhere presented this as evidence without others checking, so lyingly extend and mount this false meaning upon it. If we take the hadith meaning, then the hadith are only for the groups mentioned in the verse, so this interpretation makes a mockery of the Quran. So false on two accounts, whichever side of the hellfire fence you have fallen. Ancestral worship, the denial of the Quran for the fairy tales of their fathers. The Quran to judge and rule by. The Quran says we do not need anything other than the revelation of Allah, but that is not enough for those so-called Muslims who argue falsely for the sake of their shirk, sectarian ways.
Remember, we have appointed to every prophet enemies, The rebellious among the urban and the rural populations rose in opposition since the message struck at their personal interests. They plotted and inspired each other with fancy words. If your Lord willed, they would not do that. Disregard them and whatever they fabricate. Those who love quick gains and neglect the long-term benefits and the hereafter are parties to such fabrications. Let them delight in it and let them earn from it what they may say. Shall I seek for judge and ruler someone other than God? He is the one who has revealed this book, well expounded in detail for you. Those whom we have given the book know that this is revealed in truth from your Lord. Be not among those who argue for the sake of argument. Perfected is the word of your Lord in truth and justice. None can change his words. He is the profound hearer, the knower. And the messenger will say, O my Lord, these are my people who had abandoned this Qur'an as something to be neglected.
The Qur'an Unchained.